right. Jen, you want to kick us off?
I would love to. Well, good evening. My name is Jen Boyd Lemming. I'm part of the public outreach team with the Tahoe Cedars Water Relocation Project, working with Granite Construction and Dow and the Tahoe Cedar Public Utility District. And we're looking forward to connecting tonight. So, just a few housekeeping. We're going to try to be like the Olympics and have record speed and efficiency of getting through this presentation so we can get back to watching the Olympics if anybody is eager to see what's going on. Um, all joking aside, we have a handful of slides that we are going to present, and that we have already submitted a lot of questions. So thank you to those in advance who have provided such questions that helped us really shape this presentation. As Erin mentioned, we are recording this. So those who are unable to attend, or if you want to go back and look at information that we may have gone over too quickly, or need to see details again, we are recording it and it will be posted on the website. And you can share along with your neighbors. So we really appreciate your time. So thank you so much for being here this evening. We are going to go through the slides. If you have questions that come up, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll have a question and answer session at the end. This is intended to be a webinar. So we will have more details of what's coming up in the future, but I would like to introduce the team. So Julie, you want to say hello? Or why she's
Sure
unmuting? There you
thing. Yeah, sorry.
go.
Julie Ryan, I'm Senior Project Engineer with Tahoe City Public Utility District, and I'm the project manager for the Tahoe Cedars Water System Replacement Project.
And probably a lot of you know Erin, but Erin and I work closely.
Yeah,
Hello,
hi,
Erin.
hi everyone. My name is Aaron Husband. I'm the Public Affairs Specialist for Tahoe City Public Utility District.
And as mentioned, I'm the outreach manager for the project. And then we have John with Granite Construction. Hi, John.
Everybody, John O'Day, uh, construction project manager. So I'm working with the team during pre-construction and gonna work through pre-construction into transition into building the project and managing it. So nice to meet you all.
Great. All right. So we are going to go through, give you a little bit a reminder of the backgrounds. I know there is, some people who have probably heard some of this, so we appreciate you hearing this information again, but we know some individuals may have not. So we're going to go through a little bit of information about the project itself, where we're at, different stages in the process, go through the frequently asked questions that were presented to us, as well as new ones that come up. We're going to talk about the customer water service relocations, and then more more question and answer sessions. So we'll dive right in. Thank you.
All right, I'll get us kicked off. Jen, there's a Q&A button, right? Did we talk about that so that people know that they can type in questions? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, it might be a little bit different. So if you are not familiar with this feature in a webinar, it's the question mark down at the bottom of your screen. It says Q&A, and you click on it, and then you can type in a question there.
Yeah, so that'll be available as we go, and then we'll see what we've got at the towards the end of the seminar, and yeah, see if we can get some questions answered. So a little bit about the Tahoe Cedars water system. Tahoe City Public Utility District acquired the Tahoe Cedars water system back in 2018. It's currently more than 50 years old and it is actively failing. The fire hydrants that exist in the system today don't meet current spacing standards, and the mains are undersized to meet fire flow standards. So full reconstruction of the entire water system has been recommended to provide secure and reliable drinking water and improve fire protection for the Tahoma community. Next slide. When we say full system replacement, what does that mean? The district will install 15 miles of water main out in the street, replacing all the existing fire hydrants that are currently out there and adding around 100 new fire hydrants where there were none before. These mains and the hydrants will serve over 1,200 customers, and we will be installing service lines from the main to the edge of property at the edge of the right of way. Um, and those service lines will end with a water meter and a water shutoff valve just beyond the property line. A common question that we get asked is why isn't TCPUD replacing the water mains in the same backyard alignment? Well, constructing and maintaining new water infrastructure in backyards presents many challenges, including the limited access that's available to our crews to maintain those water lines moving forward. The actual cost of construction to build in the backyards is about 1.5 to 2 times more expensive than building in the street. And then there's that risk of damaging any private improvements like fences, patios, and sheds that people may have built in their backyards. So that's why this project will replace all those backyard water mains with ones out in the street. You know, this is consistent with the current best practice in the water industry. Next slide. So here's a little timeline of kind of where we're at in this first phase of construction, design and construction. Since Tahoe City Public Utility District took on the water system back in 2018, we've been working hard to replace the water lines as quickly and efficiently as possible. As soon as we had a concept in mind with our master plan, we began preparing environmental documents and applying for outside funding in the form of grants and low interest loans that will really help us do this project cost effectively. Through a progressive design build contracting process, we have partnered with an experienced general contractor, Granite Construction, who brings a complete team to the project, including survey, design, outreach, permitting, everything. We plan to continue with the same team through all phases of construction, and we're working towards getting started with phase 1 construction this coming summer. In December, we submitted our phase 1 public service project application to the TRPA for review. And next slide. We want to make sure that everybody knows that there is a public hearing coming up on March 5th at 2 p.m. With the hearings officer as sort of the final step of that phase 1 permit application process. The Tahoe Cedars customers will be receiving an email in the coming week notifying about that upcoming hearing, which you can attend either in person or online, and the email will have details about how to connect and participate in that hearing.
And Julie, if I may, it's also on our project website too. So,
great,
thank you.
Perfect. Okay, now I'll pass the mic to Aaron to review some of the most frequently asked questions.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. So I know that we mentioned there's the Q&A section, and Tim, I see your question, and we'll get to that. If we don't answer it through this presentation, we'll get to your question as well. But we want to start with just some of the more frequently asked questions that we've been hearing through the project before we start talking about customer service relocations and then open up for Q&A at the end. So first, we've been hearing a lot of questions, you know, when is the project starting? When will my phase start? So as we saw in that timeline, 2025 was really dedicated to our preliminary design, fieldwork, surveying. You've probably seen Granite and Dowell teams out in the neighborhood doing their survey and fieldwork. All of that is to support the timeline for the first phase of construction to begin this summer. So we're anticipating initial prep work to start as early as May, with construction anticipated to start in July of this year. And that'll be for phase 1, which is shown in blue on the map here. So it's most of 7th Avenue, 8th Avenue, and 9th Avenue from Pine Street all the way back to the back of Tahoma. That'll be phase 1. And then from 2027 through estimated 2031, that's when we'll tackle phases 2, 3, and 4 in sequential order, currently shown on this map here. All of this, is always uh, might be some ebb and flow in the schedule, but the plan for this year is phase 1 construction beginning in July. We don't have exact block by block estimates of when we're going to be in front of your house if you're a phase 1 customer, but as we near construction, we'll be releasing 2-week at a glance schedules with our best available information. So we'll do our best to notify customers when we're coming through with advance notice. We're also going to be rolling out hopefully a new notification system that allows us to target by block. So we'll be able to send you a message straight to your block once we're coming through. Other questions that we are hearing are just starting to wonder about water meters. So one, what do the water meters look like? Are they above ground? Are they below ground? So we've thrown in some photo examples here of what a typical water meter will look like with this project. The meters themselves are below ground to prevent freezing and provide that frost protection. But then the cover of that meter pit is flush with the ground surface. So there's an option here in landscaping right after installation. And then we do have the option for vehicle rated meter covers. So if the meter location that we agree upon with you is in a location where you park cars or where cars might be driving over it, we'll work with you to make sure that there is a vehicle rated meter cover placed in that location. When will the meters be installed? The meters will be installed as the project comes through with the project. So as the Granite teams are putting in the mains and installing the service laterals, that's when they'll also put in the meter pits and the meter assemblies. But in terms of when the meter actually kicks on and when we switch to metered billing, we're still working on those details, and we'll release that information as soon as we have that information available about when metered billing will begin. And then finally, will TCPUD provide meters and service to vacant lots? And the answer to this question is no, unless that property has an approved development application already in progress. And that's really so that we can properly size the water service line to that property. There's a whole host of different service size requirements, especially given that new buildings will require fire sprinklers and fire protection. And so that'll result in a lot of different potential service line sizes. And so that's really why we're not providing just vacant, empty stubs to those vacant lots. We need to make sure that we're adequately sizing it so that the pipe doesn't need to be resized.
And Aaron, with that, a few of the questions we've gotten to is on the map itself, those blank properties that aren't filled in the colors of the phases, those are homes that are vacant lots. So if anybody was wondering about that, that's what those are.
Thanks, Tim. And then for during construction, I'm going to pass it over to Jen and John to talk about some of these on the ground construction questions we've been receiving.
Yes, thank you. So construction hours, we are oh man. So those will be during the week, Monday through Friday. We will be in touch with exact hours and working hours, but at this point, we do not anticipate working on the weekends. They're going to be during the day. And then I wish we could tell you exactly when we'll be in front of each of your properties, but that's just not the time where we're at yet. But so when construction is starting in front of a property, the process we do what's called like a 2 to 3 week look ahead. And so we'll have a really good timing at that point as to when you will be exactly in front of your street. And John can talk a little bit more about that process, but we're heavily involved in those construction meetings. Those will kick off here, in the spring as we get a lot closer to the project. We are aiming to start construction of actually breaking the ground in about July at this point. So more to come as we move through the process with the board and the team and just getting everything ready. But looking like July is when we'll first get started. And, from there, then we'll be able to tell, at what point we'll be going down 7th, what point we'll be going down 8th. And like Aaron had mentioned, we're going to really be able to try to geo-target and give you updates. We will be able to do alerts on the website. We're going to have a lot of information on the construction as we get there of, what's coming and what's coming up. and maps and resources and information. We have project emails going out. We're able to, specifically talk to those direct neighborhoods. And then John can probably speak to this a little bit more of like when we're there, we'll be coming up to the door and letting people know, hey, this is coming. You'll probably see us. Yes. Will I have construction access to my property during construction? Absolutely. Yes. There may be moments that it'll be a little harder to get in and out, and that's where the team on the ground and the construction will be able to communicate that with you if there is something that's going to be like a little while and coordinate with you so you can get in and out of your house if you have a really busy day or something's going on. We want to make this as seamless as possible for you and so that you have access to your property. And will there be times when my water is shut off? The plan is no. There shouldn't be times when your water is shut off. However, there are going to be moments and instances where that may be the case, and that would be communicated in advance so that you know. And the plan is that it would be a very short duration. And obviously, this doesn't really account for if there's emergencies, then yes, you would be without water if an emergency happens, whether something in the field or if something else going on, that would be the case. John, do you want to touch on anything else I may have missed or?
Yeah, as far as working hours, yeah, roughly it'll be based upon what the permit says, but it'll look like something, 8 to 6 time window, Monday through Friday. No anticipated night work or weekend work, as you listed before. We will typically, as Aaron said earlier, there'll be an email notifying everybody that we're close in the proximity. Typically, we do neighborhood reconstruction projects all the time, and we'll do door hangers, 3 days ahead of time if we think we're getting close, so you can plan. Many times people park down the street or around the block if they know they got to leave. We do also put plates when we're working right in front of your home. If you have to get out immediately or unplanned. And then once we get backfilled, you'll be out. We'll have traffic closed to through traffic, but you'll still be able to get to your home. It's just, people that aren't living on that street are going to have to be detoured around, but people that live on the street will absolutely have access to their homes. Let's see.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Also, at the end of a day's work, the trench will either have been backfilled or plated over, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. We will not
Great,
leave
great
open
point.
holes or anything that people can fall into or trip over. Everything will be buttoned up by the end of shift every day. And then as far as anytime, there are a few, not very many existing front meters where we will be making connections, tying over at some point. That would be the only time on those front connections when we'd have to turn the water off, but it would be like a brief amount of time to do that. Shouldn't take very long, but all the other ones are going to occur, I think, as they're connected from the backyards by homeowners themselves. This is the way I see it. Individual plumbers or contractors performing that work, and that's what I have on that. I think I touched on everything.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll transition into talking a little bit more about the customer water service relocation process and some details. Julie, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. I think we'll get it kicked off by talking about the permit process. Let's see the next slide.
I think I'll take it over. I'll start. Sorry, a little mix up
Okay.
here, but so the customer water service relocations, for those of you who haven't seen this map yet, the parcels in red are those that are going to need to relocate their private water service line that connects to their house from the backyard to the front yard connection. So that's about 650 customers that are currently served by back of lot water connections. As Julie mentioned earlier, this project is going to be abandoning the backyard water mains to build new mains, service extensions, and meters on the street side of the property. And so those property owners are both physically and financially responsible for relocating their private service line to connect to the new street side meter. So again, on this map, those properties in red are those that we've currently identified that need to do that relocation. Properties in orange are maybes that we're working with those specific property owners to determine that status, and then properties in green already have street side water service and do not need to relocate. And a larger version of this map is available for download on the project website, and we'll post that link in just a second. So here's what that typical scenario might look like. This is not a construction plan. This is just a scenario of what this might look like. Our backyard water meters are here in the blue line, or backyard water mains are here in the blue line, and the existing connection to the house. Here in this lighter blue is where we'll install the new mains in the street. We'll install the service lateral, a new TCPUD water meter, and we'll also install a customer water shutoff valve here. And then from there, it'll be up to the customer to either connect from that meter around to the back where the water service currently comes in, or for some customers, they might opt to connect to a new location, possibly at the front of the house, and that might result in a shorter trenching distance, but you might have to reconfigure some plumbing underneath the home. But that is an option for homeowners who might, if that is something that works for your property. And so now I'll pass it over to Julie to talk about the permit process.
Now I'm ready to talk about permits. A lot of people have started asking about permits, and it is a work in progress. But this slide shows you kind of the general steps that we have laid out in coordination with the county in which the property resides. For the vast majority of the properties that need to relocate their service, they're in El Dorado County. So that is where we have started our discussions about the permitting process is with El Dorado County. To get the process going, a property owner or their contractor needs to contact TCPUD and request our application. The easiest way to request an application will be by sending us an email to the project email address. But you can also call over to TCPUD and they'll put you through to us. We'll need to know, your street address for the property, and with that request, we will generate a site map that we will give to you along with the application for you to use. You can mark it up, show the route that you intend to take from the meter location to the house, and this will come back with your application. Once you've filled that application out, you submit it back to Tahoe City for review. You also submit that site plan to the county for their review and approval. I want to point out that all water service relocation customers will need to apply to both Tahoe City PUD and the county building department so that both agencies have the paper trail that we need to track the work. We are working closely with El Dorado County Building Department to make sure that the application review and inspections process goes smoothly for the property owners. And we'll be developing a step-by-step instructions for you. And we're also happy to help walk you through the process of actually applying. Once you have your application approvals in hand and you have a licensed contractor on board, if you're not just doing the work yourself, then you can begin work. For ground disturbing work, you can't start digging until after May 1st. Trenches must be backfilled and stabilized by October 15th. If the route you're taking from the meter to the house requires you to remove any trees that are larger than 14 inches in diameter, then you'll also need to apply separately to TRPA for permission to removing those trees. It's their tree removal permit, and it's pretty straightforward if you go to the website. When the trench line from the meter location to the house has been dug, you or your contractor will need to then contact TCPUD for inspection. If you've done the trench work before the new water main and service has been installed in the street, then there'll be a pause in your work at this point. And then once that new water main is available out in the street and your meter is in place, Tahoe City PUD will notify you, and then you can proceed with the tie-in of your relocated service line to your house. Once you're ready for inspection of the tie-in, we'll come back out, we'll test the water line and do our inspections, and then your final step will be to transfer your service to your new line and abandon that old service back at the main in the backyard. Next slide. All right, as part of the application packets that we're developing, Tahoe City PUD is providing details that show the requirements for the trench line and the tie-in. This is an example of one of those. I want to spend a few minutes to show you what those details kind of look like, and what the key elements are. The standard installation of a service line would start at the meter and skirt around the side of the house in a trench that intercepts the existing service line at the back of the house near the foundation, where that existing service line probably goes under. With this kind of installation, you never go under the house. You're doing all your work out in the yard. Alternatively, if you want to minimize the amount of trenching on your property, like if you want to protect existing landscaping, you might go straight to the front of the house under the foundation and tie into the plumbing and the crawl space. Both are perfectly acceptable options. The choice is really up to you based on the needs of your property. The other choice that you'll have to make is when you want to do the work. If you choose to get the water line installed across your property before the new water main is in service, we call that a dry line installation. And you may have compelling reasons to start early. TCPUD encourages dry line installation. But be aware that a dry line is a two-step installation. Step 1 installs the trench. Step 2 completes the tie-in, the testing, and the abandonment after the new water main is in place. If you decide to wait to get started until after the new main is available, that's called a wet line installation. You'll be able to proceed immediately after your trench is accepted with the testing, tie-in, abandonment of the old service. So that is what we consider a one-step installation. All right, next slide. This is a very basic profile of a customer service water line. During the water main project, Tahoe City will be installing the portion from the district water main in the street up to the property line, including the meter pit and the customer shutoff valve shown here. And then the owner is responsible to install the service line, starting at that shutoff valve, crossing the property and ending at the building. And we've shown with a dashed line here, kind of the two different options. Either you're ending by intercepting the existing service outside the foundation, or you're bringing it under the foundation and tying it into the plumbing in the crawl space. Next slide. Here's what a water service trench looks like. The trench needs to be roughly 3 feet deep so that the top of the line sits at least 30 inches below ground surface. Even if you will receive and are billed for a 3/4 inch meter, the minimum pipe size that we will allow is 1 inch. That line can be copper or it can be plastic, high density polyethylene, and plastic lines will need a tracer wire to be installed. If you have a fire suppression system, you'll need to install a separate fire line alongside your domestic service line. We will work with you to make sure that you are installing the right size line for your fire system. And if you hate the idea of digging a trench across your yard, there are trenchless installation methods that we think may be a good candidate for use in the Tahoma area. We're going to be doing a pilot test of a tool that for our own use on our project this spring. If that seems promising, we will update the website and let you know that, yeah, we were able to get it to work. And if you are interested in trenchless methods, reach out to us, and we're happy to talk to you about it. Um, and if you go with trenchless, there's some little differences about like the inspection process and what we'll be looking for. Next slide. Finally, there are separation requirements for your line as it crosses the property with regards to other underground utilities. You're required to keep your water surface away from these utilities to protect your water supply. The requirements are spelled out in the application packet to help you lay out the best route for your property. We know this is a lot to absorb and it's pretty technical. And so I want to make sure that you're all aware that we are here to help you. If you have any questions about the technical requirements for your water service line, don't be afraid to send us an email at that project email address. We're happy to work with you to find the right answers for your property. And now,
Julie, if I may jump in real quick with some of the technical requirements, we did have a couple weeks ago a contractors workshop with those that have expressed interest in being private contractors for your relocation of your backyards, and we also have that on the website. Oh, there you go. Look at, I'm jumping ahead on you.
That's a great segue.
But that information is there, and more to come too, as we are looking to have a joint meeting in the spring to be determined with both the contractors and the homeowners in person, so we can have a lot of the conversations directly and in person. So back to you, Julie.
Actually, I think I'm passing it on to you now.
So yes, as the contractors workshop, you can 100% install the customer service line yourself, or you are welcome to a list of contractors. We have them on the website. We have a list of people that have reached out, that have expressed interest, and we are updating on the website their areas of expertise, because some have, different some may be in plumbing, some may be in digging. So there's different aspects of and where they're located. So we have all that resources on the website of the contractors list. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
And just to clarify, customers are not required to use a contractor off of that list. You can use whatever licensed contractor that you feel comfortable with. But knowing that a lot of people, this is kind of new for them and may not even know who to call, we want to do our best to help put you in touch with contractors that we know are interested in helping.
And if there's more people or more contractors, or if you know someone that you've been in conversations with in the community, or that that also wants to be added, please have them reach out so we can get them on that list as well.
Awesome. And so now we're just going to talk a little bit about what the customer service relocation timeline looks like. And, this is particularly relevant for our phase 1 customers right now. The first step that'll come up, and this part has not happened yet, but a public hearing will be scheduled where the board will set a formal relocation deadline, and TCPUD will provide mailed written notice of that public hearing at least 21 days in advance before that hearing happens, with the date, time, and location. Then we'll hold that public hearing. The board will establish a relocation deadline. In our policy guiding this process, we've committed that to customers having 2 construction seasons to complete their relocation. So you'll see this is all in construction season 1, which would be this year. Customers essentially now in phase 1 would have until the end of construction season 2, which would be 2027, to connect to the new system. But once the board establishes that, within 60 days, we'll send out another written notice formally letting customers know that the relocation deadline has been set. Next year, between January and April, we'll send a reminder to all phase 1 relocation customers that the relocation deadline is approaching this year. Fast forward through that summer, 30 days before the relocation deadline, at least 30 days before the relocation deadline, we'll send a final notice reminding customers who have not completed that process yet that the relocation deadline is approaching. And then per the policy that guides this process, after the relocation deadline, we will send customers a 90-day disconnection warning that if relocation is not completed, water service may be disconnected as part of the connection or the reconnection process. And a big driver of this is that while this whole project is going on, TCPUD will be operating and maintaining both the old system and the new system. And I think most of us are quite aware that the old system is on its last legs, and we want to get off that old system as quickly as possible. So that's really the motivator and the driver, is to get all customers off of the old system and onto the new system as quickly as possible so that we can decommission and abandon that old system. All right, and then moving into financial assistance options. I know this is another frequently asked question that we hear from a lot of folks. So at our January Board of Directors meeting, which was January 16th, staff presented 3 possible financial assistance options for helping with customer relocations. And these options are not mutually exclusive. It's not an either or. These are a suite of options that the board could adopt one or all. The first option would be a reimbursement of actual costs up to a certain cap for income qualified customers who are enrolled in TCPUD's Tier 1 Water Rate Assistance Program. And enrollment in that program is done by showing proof of enrollment in the Liberty Utilities Care Program. So if you are in the Liberty Utilities Care Program and you're not yet enrolled in the TCPUD Tier 1 Rate Assistance Program, please do contact us for more information. So that option would be that first reimbursement up to a cap. The proposed amount at the January meeting was $12,000 for that option 1 cap. Option 2 would be a fixed grant amount for all Tahoe Cedars customers, regardless of their income or rate assistance enrollment. And this would be a fixed grant amount. The amount proposed at the January meeting was $5,000 in financial assistance, and that is a grant. It's not a loan. It wouldn't need to be repaid. We're still working on all of the details of it, but as long as a customer connects to the new system before the relocation deadline, they'd be eligible for this option. And then the third option that was proposed to the board was a loan program for predetermined amounts to help cover gaps in that coverage, and those loans would be available at market rates. Our board expressed really strong interest in moving forward with options 1 and 2 to begin. And we expect that to come back to the board within the next couple of months for final review and approval. And they asked staff to continue working on option 3 to really iron out some of the kinks. TCPUD is not a bank, we're not a lender or a financing agency, so spinning up a loan program is something that we want to put a little more thought and time into, and it's a little more administratively burdensome. So we do plan on bringing options 1 and 2 back for consideration and possible approval at an upcoming meeting, and we will certainly email all Tahoe Cedars customers when that meeting is approaching. And we've mentioned the website in the email a lot, so want to just put out a shout here that a lot of this project information is available at www.tcpud.org/Tahoe Cedars. We send out frequent email news to the project list, and you can sign up for that at the URL shown here. If you're not sure if you're on that list or not, check your email. We just sent out a project newsletter called the Tahoe Cedars Pipeline within the last 2 weeks. So if you did not receive that, chances are you are not on our project email list, and I encourage you to sign up at this link here. As Jen mentioned, we'll also be hosting an in-person contractor and homeowner meet and greet later this spring and in-person workshops to come.
And with the website, we are constantly updating a lot of information. And as we get more frequently asked questions, we add them to the website. You may notice that, this presentation will be on there, the contractors workshop. So there's ever evolving information that we are adding to the website. And Aaron mentioned the Tahoe Cedars Pipeline newsletter. We are intending to do that quarterly. And then as there's more and pertinent information like a board meeting or the TRPA notice of the public hearing, we'll send out individual emails with important information because we want to, not clog up your inboxes, but have information that's very timely and important and needed. So that is where we are at. And anytime you have a question, just shoot us an email or give us a call.
All right, so now we'll move on to our question and answer period. So you all have been doing a great job of putting your questions in the chat, so thank you for that. And we'll answer those as time allows. Anything that we're not able to get to tonight, we'll provide written responses to and post those on the website. First, though, we do want to start with our pre-emailed questions. So these are folks that emailed their questions to us in advance. So the first question is, will El Dorado County building and or excavation permits be required?
You want me to take that?
Sure.
All right. As I mentioned previously, yes, for service line relocations, all owners will need to apply for both a Tahoe City PUD application and a county building permit. We will be preparing a step-by-step guidance document as we get closer to grading season. And we hope to have all these materials, applications, guidance documents available for you by May 1. And as I mentioned previously, our TCPUD staff is available to walk you through the process and answer any questions that you might have along the way.
Thanks, Julie. The next question is, what are permit costs?
Well, Tahoe City PUD has waived its permit application fee, so you won't be charged anything when you bring us your permit application. However, you will be charged a fee by El Dorado County at the time that you applied, and that's based on the value of the plumbing work that you are performing. We expect that'll trigger the minimum fee requirement, which comes in under $200.
Thanks, Julie. What will inspections be looking at?
Well, for all the services, inspections will be focused on trench dimensions, separation from buried utilities, pipe size and material, and proper tie-in and abandonment. We'll also be looking to confirm that the service has a functioning shutoff valve at the house, and that the house continues to be properly grounded after your steel service line has been abandoned. Also, if you have a fire system, we'll need information about that system to confirm that your service line is being properly sized.
Awesome. And then I think we touched on this a little bit, but are TRPA permits required, and will TRPA be looking for anything else besides trees as part of their permit inspection?
Yeah, while property owners don't need a permit from TRPA for the trenching, the trench construction will need to comply with TRPA's guidelines for temporary BMPs and then site stabilization after the fact. The Tahoe City team, we're going to be out and about in the neighborhood, and so if we see anything that looks incorrect, we'll let you know so that you can fix it. And then I just want to reiterate that if the trench work does require removal of trees on your property that are greater than 14 inches in diameter, you will need to contact TRPA separately for a tree removal permit.
Thanks, Julie. All right, so now we will transition to questions that are in the chat, and we'll just take them in the order that they were received. So going back up to the top from Tim. Regarding lateral connections to the home, it's a question about El Dorado County permits. Julie, can you see the questions as well?
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
And Tim, I think we have answered this question for the most part. That we'll be providing the application specs and details prior to May 1st construction season starting, and that we are closely coordinating with El Dorado County for permitting requirements and applications.
Yeah, and this is an evolving process. We have been meeting with them over the course of the last week to figure out exactly what that process is gonna look like. And so what you're hearing today is, the latest and greatest information that yes, you will be making an application to us and also to the El Dorado County Building Department. The most convenient way to apply with the county is through their e-Track-It system. And it's that navigating that system is where that step-by-step guidance comes in.
Awesome. And then one more question from Tim, replacement of the fur main and when that might happen.
Um, the fur main, I don't, it spans multiple phases. Um,
You pull up the phase
from,
map here.
yeah,
I mean, I know a large portion of it is in phase one.
yeah.
Um,
The
from,
first section is crossing the blue is phase one, and then as it crosses the yellow all the way to that uh the property line with the state park, that's
The
phase
first,
two.
yeah.
yeah, so it's Pine to Seventh, I believe.
Oh, you mean ninth to seventh?
Excuse me. Oh, you're talking fir. I'm sorry, not elm. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, from ninth to seventh is on phase one, and seventh
Yep.
to first is on phase two.
Awesome. Thank you. Next question, will the project be following California Building Code? Is there help finding existing water lines into our residents, and is TCPUD going to be issuing and inspecting? So I think we answered the inspecting part.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so the plumbing code requirements and Tahoe City PUD has its own water ordinances. We will be marrying kind of these two sets of requirements in coordination with the building department so that we make sure that we got everything included. Um, and then, is there help finding existing water lines into our residents? Yeah, I have been taking requests for site visits first. And I or someone else from our team can come out and meet you at your property and do some investigation and if needed, follow up with um, uh, some help from our utilities crew.
Yeah, Julie, I'd add to that with finding your existing water line, unfortunately, when a lot of homes in Tacoma were built, records weren't kept. And if they were kept, they weren't maintained or provided the TCPUD on that transfer of ownership. So for customers, if you know where your shut-off valve currently is, if you're able to turn off your water to your home when you leave for vacation or leave for the winter, chances are wherever your shutoff valve is, just on the other side of the foundation, is probably where your water service comes into the home. So that's a good place to start, especially if you're going to be tying into just outside the home's foundation. Look for that shutoff valve, and if you're able to send that information to us, that's helpful in advance of any site visits.
Yeah. Yeah, that sort of desktop review of what files we have is always going to be our first place to start, see if we have anything that you may not have. And then we'll go from there.
Awesome. And then the next question, will we need to schedule appointments to confirm the meter installation locations? And Stephanie, I actually just received your map with the meter location in the mail today. So we do have that. For everyone else who's not a phase one customer, or if you are a phase one customer and you haven't received your map, but essentially the process we've been sending all phase one relocation customers a map with their proposed water meter location and asking customers to either agree or propose a new meter location. Phase two customers, that'll be coming later on. So don't worry if you haven't received anything yet. If you are a phase one customer on this webinar and you have not received that map, though, please contact us immediately. But then Stephanie, I think you might also be asking as we get closer to construction, now that your location has been, agreed upon, how will it work as we get closer to construction? And I believe a few weeks before construction, we'll be out with a physical staking the proposed meter location and working with everyone to make sure that that's the correct and accurate final meter location. And John, I don't know, or John or Julie, if you have anything else to speak to that process.
No, that sounds right. I would expect that we would be marking the location where the meter is intended to be set in advance, so that if there's something that it doesn't quite match what you were expecting, you have time to raise that concern before it goes in the ground.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd envision there being little minor field tweaks along the way, but yeah, you'll have an opportunity to see where it's going to make sure everybody's in agreement before we put it in.
And if you're not here, if you're physically not here when we're coming close to that, we will work on ways to communicate so that you have that opportunity as well to make sure that, if you're on vacation or you're not at your home, we want to make sure that we're in touch with you via email, phone, to be able to finalize that as well. So know that if you're physically not here, that's okay. We'll make it work. And then, as Erin mentioned real briefly, but yeah, phase two relocation letters are coming, later. They have not been sent at all for phase two. That's coming tentatively this summer. We're still working on some of that design aspects of those letters. And so that information will be forthcoming. Thank you.
Awesome. Next question is from M. Pierce. We potholed our property for water line location and found the best location for the curb stop and meter. How do we mark that location for construction crews? I'd say if you're in phase one and you haven't already filled out your map, mark that location on the map and send it to us. If you're in a future phase, please email us at the project email and I'll try to put that up on screen here. That way if you're in a future phase, we can forward that on to our design team for their consideration as they plan out future meter locations. Julie, I think this one might be for you to speak a little bit more to, but why not allow stubs to vacant lots to be installed at the risk of the homeowner, as the homeowner provides size and takes responsibility?
Yeah, that seems actually more like a district policy question than it is a project specific question. This was the determination that we made project wide for this situation. And there's yeah, I don't feel like we can talk anymore about that. We can do some more follow-up, but
Awesome, thank you. One more question from Tim. Will there be a new main installed under Alder? If not, why? And are you going to replace the water main under Cedar, which is the paper street at the end of the avenues?
yeah, at least a portion of Alder is getting a new water main because that's being installed on phase one. I don't remember whether it's going all the way across or if it then jogs up to Fur. We are trying to optimize the system. So basically, every north-south and every numbered street is getting a pipeline. But we are minimizing the number of cross streets that get pipelines to just what we need for proper isolation and hydraulics of the system, so that the project isn't more expensive than it needs to be as a whole. As far as Cedar goes, I think our plans, the conceptual level plans showed that a main would be going in that paper right away all the way across. But from a hydraulic standpoint, our designer has confirmed that we could do every other block and provide sufficient flow through the mains. So right now, that's the intent, is to limit our disturbance to that paper right of way to just every other block.
Thanks, Julie. Next question is, will the customer property owners be responsible for permitting their lateral? And yes, both through TCPUD and El Dorado County. And then when will TCPUD private service permit applications be available? And before May 1st. Will the permit cost money? Thanks, Robin. The TCPUD permit will be no fee. And as we mentioned, the El Dorado County permit, we expect to be in the sub $200 range, depending on each property. Regarding the permit process, May 1st to October 15th deadline for contractor information. Is this time frame for phase one or all phases? So just to clarify, any digging work, this is a basin-wide thing, not a Tahoe Cedars specific, but earth disturbance can only happen from May 1st to October 15th anywhere in the Lake Tahoe Basin. If you've got indoor plumbing work that needs to take place, that can happen outside those dates, but as far as exceptions to that May to October deadline, that would be property specific, I believe. Is that right, Julie? Or
Yeah,
case by
the
case?
volume of disturbance you're talking about in digging a trench from the main to the house would definitely fall into that quantity of disturbance that TRPA would be concerned about if you were doing it after October 15th. So.
If a resident had a main home and a guest home or 2 meters required, they currently have 1 meter and one line.
I think guest homes are handled as accessory dwelling units, right? Which I believe is still just 1 meter. This is unfortunately, it's an anonymous attendee. If you want to reach out to us, we can get you a better, a better answer.
Yeah, it's hard
To
without
your
property specific
situation.
information. Yeah, but please do email us. The email is on the screen here, tahocedars@tcpud.org, and we can help you get clarity on that answer.
Yeah.
If the existing service is 3/4 inch copper, not 1 inch, can we connect to it?
That's a very good question. And yes. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say yes, but we'll put that one on the FAQs on the website. I'll get
Cool.
confirmation from Chris.
Thanks, Julie. Robin asked, how do I know where my sewer line is? Robin, send us an email. We can try to pull the records if we have them. Unfortunately, a lot of times the sewer record drawings don't have depth of the sewer line, but they at least have the location. Kathleen asked, is there a price break for working with group lateral installation? That would probably be up to you and your neighbors and any contractor that you and your neighbors decide to work with, but TCPUD wouldn't really have any say in the pricing on that.
But just some insight in conversations that I've had with a few contractors that are interested in helping homeowners. They've said, yeah, the more customers band together to coordinate their work, the cheaper it should be, because Tahoma is kind of in the middle of nowhere, and so they're having to mobilize their equipment and stuff to the neighborhood. And so if they can do that with one mobilization and go bing 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 bang down the street, there's definitely a cost savings to be had.
And that was part of the intent of having the in-person workshop with both contractors and homeowners, is to try to help stir and facilitate some more of those conversations if they already haven't started with your neighbors and interested contractors. So that is definitely something that we think would help streamline and be beneficial for all parties involved. So that is something we hope is the case.
What's the purpose of the TRPA hearing session on March 5th?
Yeah, I can take that one. Working for a public utility in Tahoe Basin, certain projects do have to go through the TRPA permitting process. And typically the work that we do is considered a special use in the plan areas, like the neighborhoods of Tahoe. When it's a special use, it kind of gets elevated to this level of consideration by TRPA that is called hearings officer review. And so that is what this session is that sort of one level up. It's not of a level of consideration as high as they're going to their governing board, but it's this hearing. And so it is a very common process for the utility district when we've got these more sizable projects that are triggering a TRPA application. Part of that process is to notify all the property owners within a certain radius of the project area, so that that you guys are aware as property owners that this project is happening.
Thanks, Julie. Bethany asks, is there a way to get a copy of the slides in this Zoom? We will post both the recording and the PowerPoint presentation itself to the website, so those will both be available. But hopefully by tomorrow, if not Friday at the latest. If you have any trouble accessing those once they're posted, please do email us and we can send you a copy. Tom asks, will there be inspection fees on top of permitting?
My understanding is that there will be no inspection fees on top of permitting.
Thanks, Julie. Lee states that many existing water meters are 30 to 40 feet from homes and not close to homes. And this is a question that we do get quite a bit, is why not put the water meter next to the electric meter or the gas meter? And part of the answer is that per TCPUD water ordinance, but also water industry standard, ownership and responsibility of the water system transitions at the property line, at the meter. Compared to gas or electric, those utilities own their gas or electric line all the way up to the house, up to including the meter. There's differences in industry standards and industry ordinances, but TCPUD's ownership and responsibility terminates at the property line. I don't know if Julie, if you have anything else to add to that one.
Nope, that's perfect.
Okay. Tim asks, you mentioned a water shutoff valve at the residence. If the house has a shutoff valve inside the house, does another need to be installed outside the foundation?
The whole valve at the house is the element of the El Dorado County building permit review, building application review. And so I don't want to speak out of turn for them, but I would not expect to have one both under the crawl space and outside the foundation.
Thanks, Julie. It sounds like we'll have more clarity on that as we get more clarity from El Dorado County. How close / far from the entrance to the foundation does the new water lateral have to be connected to the existing service line, the lateral? I guess could it be, an inch from the foundation or a foot, or where does that tie-in happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have an answer to it. The only restrictions I have discussed about distance from the foundation has to do with as you're paralleling the foundation, as your line is kind of going up the side of your house before it turns to go under the foundation. And there will be a detail in the permit packet that talks about that distance. But as far as if you were coming straight in, I don't know that there is a minimum distance from the foundation.
Okay, thanks. And then Kathleen asked, will my water and sewer costs go down with the new meters? I don't use any water in summer vacation home only. So sewer rates won't go down. They're independent of the water rates. Your water bill will be up to, once meter billing is active and ready to go, it'll be up to your water consumption. And we do have a water rate calculator available on our website. We could type the URL, or Kathleen, if you email us, we can send you a link for it. In general, though, the majority of TCPUD's water rate, it consists of the base rate. And so even for a customer right now who uses zero water on metered billing, it's about a $24 a month difference between the customers in Tahoe Cedars that are on the unmetered rate. So if you use zero water and hypothetically you started meter billing today, your bill would go down by $24 a month, your water bill. Part of the reason that TCPUD's water base rate is so high is we have a significantly large service area. We have a 31 square mile service area and very few customers to divide the cost of operating that system across the whole service area. By comparison, suburban water districts like San Jose or Sacramento have 5 to 10 times as many customers per the same size service area, which translates to a difference in water rates. So you might see a change in your water bill, and I would encourage you to check out the water rate calculator on our website to play around with the consumption levels on that. All right. Had 26 really great questions asked throughout the webinar. Thank you all for those. We'll give just maybe a minute or two for one or two last questions, but otherwise, oh, we got one. Thanks, Lee. My previous question wasn't clear. TCPUD stated earlier that for existing water lines, the shutoff valve is close to the house. In many homes, the current water shutoff valve is 30 to 40 feet from the home. Ah, I see. Thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Yeah. And so I think there are two different customer shutoff valves that we've been talking about on our presentation today. We will be installing a customer shutoff valve immediately adjacent to the meter pit at the property line. We will be installing that for you, but that is your valve, and that will be out at the property line. It'll be far from your home. My understanding from our discussions with El Dorado County is that they also require a convenient shutoff valve under or adjacent to the foundation up by the house. And so if you don't already have a foundation at that, or I'm sorry, a valve at that location near the foundation or under the house, you can expect that El Dorado County will be requiring you to install one as part of their portion of this permitting process. So hopefully that answered the question this time.
Thanks, Julie, and thanks, Lee, for chiming in with clarification on that. Apologies for misinterpreting the original question. All right, so again, this webinar will be posted to the website. The PDF of the PowerPoint will be posted as well, and always happy to take any questions at tahocedars@tcpud.org, and please visit the project website and sign up for the project email list. Let me put that URL back up here really quick. tcpud.org/Tahoe Cedars sign up if you're not currently enrolled.
All right.
Well, thank you all so much for your time this evening. We appreciate you spending your Wednesday night with us, learning about this project and asking a lot of really great questions. And hope to chat with you all soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.